Hi there, this is Darla Ledoux with Aligned Entrepreneurs. Welcome to today's lesson in the power of community. I'm going to talk about the 5 qualities to look for when you're choosing an intentional community to help you get something done in your life. So just in the last 2 weeks alone, I have had wine with a friend of mine. I have had dinner with someone else. I've had a quick conversation with someone, and I've called a 4th person just because I was feeling stressed out. All 4 of these people are people that I have been in a mastermind with. People who have been a part of my community based on my decision to invest in my business and join a group that was really committed to growing themselves and growing their business. So the friends that I made in my earliest mastermind group, some of them are still friends today. And those are the same people that have lifted me and helped me to grow. Starting from the very first time I ever did a telesummit, where you opt in and you get a lot of great free content from different speakers. I had seen this happening and I was like, I could do that, right? And so I asked the different people that were in my mastermind if I could interview them and if they would promote me. And I didn't totally know what I was doing, but I kind of got the gist of it. And I added 500 people to my email newsletter list, which isn't a ton for a summit, but it was really exciting when prior to that I only had about 50 people from maybe friends and family on my list. So it was amazing. I share this because I really encourage you to find an intentional community to help you achieve your goals in 2016. There is nothing like having a mastermind, having a group of like-minded souls who are on a similar journey. This is why I designed my core program to include this component, because there's been nothing like it for me in really transforming myself and my business and allowing my visibility to grow. So my Amplified program is all about that. And I want to just give you some things to think about when you're choosing a program and a community to tap into to help you to grow this year. Okay, so what do you want to think about when you're choosing a community? So the first thing to consider is values. So for me, it's really important that I'm a part of a community that has a value system that's similar to mine. Now, your values will grow and change even over the course of a year. But as you become more aware of what you want and what you're creating, things will shift a little bit, but the core of your value system is pretty solid. You know what's important to you and you know what you want to create. I would really trust this. You don't want to get in a group where people value different things and they're on a different journey, because you're always going to be feeling like you should be doing something different. You'll always be comparing yourself and feeling like you don't quite stack up, if that makes sense. So value system is really, really important. And there's tons of communities out there. Take your time and really, determine which one's right for you. The second thing that I find is really important in choosing a community is a leader. So you want to have a mastermind with a leader. I share this because I've gone down the other path. And I've seen lots of people do this where they decide, you know what, I'm not going to invest in coaching this year. I'm not going to invest in a program. We're just going to make our own mastermind. And they get a group of friends together and they decide to, meet once a month or every week or whatever. And before long, the mastermind starts to deteriorate. And this happened in one that I was in with a group of coaching students. And the reason is there's no leader. I'm a huge believer in a paid mastermind where there's a leader who's being paid to hold the space, whose job is to keep focus on the goal and to not allow bright, shiny objects or allow the group to go off track. Here's what happens when you don't have a leader is, let's say there's, 5 people, right? Person 1 decides, I don't really feel like doing whatever I said I was going to do this month. So I'm not, really going to do it. And then person 2 has a similar thought because we're energetically connected and they don't really do it. And then they show up and they're not going to call out person 1 because they didn't do their thing either. And there's not anyone who's kind of outside the system to take a big look and see what you're agreeing to. And before you know it, the whole group can lower their consciousness. They can get into fear and scarcity and not actually complete the mission at hand. So a leader is important. And you want a leader, again, that embodies a value system that's really important to you. They don't just talk about it, but they actually live it. You want to have a leader who has the type of life that you want to have, if that makes sense. Because, I can coach you on whatever life you want to create, and that's great. It doesn't have to be the same as the life I want to create. However, if the value system's different, if I can't imagine having a business of a certain size, then you probably don't want me as your coach, right? Or if I can't imagine, like I changed communities when I realized that I wanted to make my personal life a little more important to me. And I wanted to line up with other people whose lives were more important to them as well. So you want a leader and you want to really pay attention to the life that they have, not just the marketing message, okay? The third thing that's really important, in my opinion, is retreats. This could be, you can call them anything you want, but live in-person connection with the people in your community. Because you can really do a lot of connecting by phone or in Facebook and all of that, but it's a whole different experience once you've met someone, you've connected with their energy, they get to know you on a personal level, you maybe have drinks together or go for a hike together or whatever, and now you're connected in a way that you wouldn't think to connect if you don't get together in person. The other thing that's really important about this is, if you have a great leader who can really see you're able to really pick up on someone's energy field and help them move past blocks because you can see them physically. If you show up all confident on your website, but in person, you don't look that way. You don't present that way. There's going to be a disconnect. And there's no way to get that information if you're not in person. You need to be in person to get that kind of feedback. So that's the third step, or the first thing to think about. Here's the fourth thing that's really interesting. So you really want a group where there's a safe space where you can be vulnerable. You want a leader who's vulnerable, who's transparent, who's keeping it real. And you want it to be okay for you to be vulnerable in the space. And you also want it to be okay to be strong. So I've experienced groups where there's so much vulnerability that nothing ever gets done. Everybody's crying all the time, right? And I've done it. I've cried in front of a room many times. And then there's a room where everybody's got it together and they're like, this is more of the masculine energy of I did this, I did that, I did this. And you really want to be able to have a balance to where it's okay for you to be vulnerable about what's really so for you. It's okay for you to allow people to contribute to you. That's a vulnerable thing to receive help, especially publicly, right? But it also needs to be okay for you to be strong. You don't want a leader of your mastermind who's not strong enough to allow you to be strong in your full power. You really want it to be okay to also really have it going on and celebrate and enjoy your growth and even shoot past whoever is leading it because it's just that effective. So that's important to, and you may not know this right away. You may have to test it out to kind of get a vibe of that. And then the last piece that has become more and more important to me is love and generosity. Love and generosity. So there are groups and communities, and we see this all the time, most of the workplace is this way, where it's like the dog eat dog kind of vibe. And there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of scarcity, the thoughts that I don't want to share what I'm doing because someone else might do it, and it doesn't serve the community. When you walk into a space of love and generosity, you can feel it. You're instantly accepted. Your people see the biggest version of you, and they're really willing to contribute to you even before they really know you, right? That's an amazing space of love and generosity, and you deserve to have a space like that. So, in my opinion, having an intentional community is one of the very best things that we can do as humans. Even people who aren't in business, let's say you want to lose weight, having a community that's also committed to losing weight makes a difference. It's why Weight Watchers has been in business for so long. So whatever your goal is, you deserve a community of people who have a similar value system. You deserve to have a leader who's looking out for your best interests and your goals. You deserve to be able to connect with people in person, to be vulnerable when you want, to be strong when you want, and to really receive love and generosity in your life. And if you can do this, you can do anything. Because connecting with your right clients is no different than connecting with colleagues or friends or collaborators. It really isn't. Connection is a skill that you need to nurture and you really need to master in order to build a thriving business. So with that, I really want to share that, this community that you choose, and if I am someone you really resonate with, just shoot an email to support@alignedentrepreneurs.com. We're happy to chat with you about that. And that's not what this video is about. I really encourage you to get in that community because those are the people that are going to lift you, and those are the people who will promote you, who will guide you, and who will really help you to soar. This is Darla Ledoux with Aligned Entrepreneurs, and have a fantastic and profitable week.